All I want us all to remember is that he was a good and decent man who was open to everybody, throughout the political divide, throughout the departmental divide, throughout the religious divide, throughout the family divide. Hassan was there all the time.
The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Ajah Dr. Njic, emphasized what she illustrated as a great loss not only to the Camara family, but to the entire Gambian populace. Madam Njic consoled the family, reminding them of God's ultimate to which man can only succumb.
We all can attest to the fact that the late Honorable Hassan Musa Camara played his part very well in this world until today that he lies here in state. Because he believed in what Shakespeare said, that the world is a stage and all men are merely players. He was aware of that and he played his role very well. But he also believed that this world is just a stage. We are all passing through it. We are all here as visitors and we are going eternally to the next world. And therefore I follow a previous speaker by quoting a poet, Grts, that said, "We shall all pass through this world but once. Therefore, if there be any kindness we can show, any good thing we can do, let us do it now. Let us not defer it or neglect it, for we shall not pass this way again."
The corpse of the late Hassan Musa Camara was later taken to the King Fahad Mosque for prayers before he being finally laid to rest for the beginning of the journey which everybody shall endure. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
The National Youth Council has a new board comprising members from across various regions of the country. The board was officially inaugurated by the acting permanent secretary at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The event, as we hear in this report by Momodu S. Jallo, also witnessed the launching of the 10th NACOF draft report.
Ministry of Youth and Sports, I would like to take the singular honor to dissolve the current council, which is the outgoing one, and formally welcome the newly elected council members to office. I wish you the best of luck. Godspeed. Thank you.
It was the end of an era and the beginning of another as the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Youth and Sports presides over the inauguration of a new National Youth Council board. Established in 2000 by an act of parliament, the National Youth Council has been actively striving towards improving the welfare of the country's youthful population through facilitating youth employment for active participation in national development, support and encourage active youth participation in the process of developing policies and programs, socio-economic and cultural development of youths, as well as facilitating youth networking and exchange at both national and international level. Every 2 years, new members are elected to serve on the board of the National Youth Council. And this convergence, the sixth of its kind, was another historic moment, marking the dawn of a new era, ushering in new members who will henceforth serve at the board level to decide on matters affecting Gambian youths, who accounts for over 60% of the country's population. The new board comprised a member from each of the country's 7 regions at the board level, a female representative, the director of youth and sports, and an executive secretary who heads the council secretariat. Some of the members retain their position from the outgoing board, whilst others are making a fresh entrance. Fabakary maintained his position as the chair of the board, meaning he will continue to serve in that capacity for the next 2 years. And in his marathon activity report, he recounted some of the achievements registered as well as challenges faced by the council during the last 2 years under review.
In our bid to enhance or to ensure effectiveness of the National Youth Council meetings, and also aware that the Council may regulate its own procedures as provided for by the National Youth Council Act, Section 11.1, and the need to formulate a framework that measures and ensure that youth-specific issues are systematically identified and addressed. The Council has developed and adopted a guideline and procedure for meeting. That was our first task.
The director of the newly created Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Unit of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Musambai, who is also part of the new board, and Pierre, the APRC National Youth Mobilizer, challenged the incoming board members to cordially work with all relevant stakeholders to improve and empower Gambian youth to become productive citizens as desired by the government of the day.
The believing that I have is that Gambia is one. The young people of this country are one. Despite our political affiliation, we all have the same mandate and the same right to develop this country as young people.
The entire population of this country are really behind the National Youth Council and generally the young people of this country. So make no mistake, and like the President always say, and this is to the new council, do the right thing and fear no one.
Representing the country's youths at the council comes with huge demands, but going by the acceptance speech of the female representative Njic on behalf of her new colleagues, they are poised to make a difference.
While the Gambia government has been investing in youths for sustainable development, more needs to be done if the country have a valuable future. Without well-educated, highly skilled, healthy and dedicated young people, the Gambia will be hard-pressed to achieve its sustainable development agendas. We need your partnership and support, especially from the private sector. Please provide us this so that we can achieve our goal as an executive. What we don't need is a youth-based sympathy, and sometimes the derogatory belief that young people are lazy and untrainable.
Having now been officially unveiled as the new board members of the National Youth Council, they will now have to deliver on their promises. The event climaxed with the launching of the 10th NACOF draft report, which was held earlier this year in Bansan, Central River Region. In fact, the NACOF remains one of the biggest events on the National Youth and Sports calendar. Mohammed Jallo, Grts News.
Commuters traveling to the interior of the country are set to experience the comfort of a new fleet of buses being introduced by the Gambia Transport Service Company. The new service provided by the company forms part of efforts to providing quality and efficient transport system for travelers. Rohi Bitey has details in this report.
In every developing sector, and for a country like the Gambia, many people struggle to get to their workplaces and travel to other parts of the country. A new transport system has considerably come to ease the situation. The introduction of the Gambia Transport Service Company in the country, many are hopeful that the constraints as regards to the movement of people from one destination to the point is likely going to be a thing of the past. Few months after its installation, the institution, with its range of buses and services, will on Wednesday, 18 September, extend its operation from Banjul to the South Bank and as far as Basse. Expounding on their new services, Raymond, Ceesay, admin and HR manager, tells us the range of services they now offer and their rates.
Our aim is basically, as you had rightly said, is to cover eventually the entire length and breadth of the Gambia. But we are going to start basically with the South Bank areas, covering areas like from Banjul to Jarosoma, Banjul to Kudang, Banjul to Bangsang, Basse, Brikamaba, Jamasona, and then back to Banjul. And so the tariff for Banjul to Jarosoma with our buses is $100. From Banjul to Kudang is $140. Banjul to Bansang would be $200. Banjul to Basse would be $220. Brikama to Basse would be $215. Basse to Bansang, $40. Basse to Brikamaba, $60. And from Basse to Jarosoma is $120. And then from Basse back to Banjul would be $220.
Dilating on the comfort of the buses compared to other transport services, Ceesay is optimistic that more and more people are going to join the bandwagon.
I think that the difference would be that you would have a very, very nice, a very, very luxurious ride. As you know, the buses are new. They're in 100% shape. So you'd have a very a comforting journey. I think the difference between the buses and the gele-geles, as you mentioned, it is the comfort. Some of the buses are air-conditioned. You also have a place where you can put your baggage. And I think also there is safety and security with our buses.
No hassling but comfort is the buzzword, as students are not left out in this new initiative.